I'm pretty. They call it freak when you're not muscling. They call it freak when you're not muscling. They call it freak when you're not muscling. They call it freak.
What's up, sports fans? You got the WTP Sports Dudes show here today. We here back with another banger, man. Today we got something special in the workings. I'm gonna have my man WTP Sports Dude himself, Robert, come up here. We're gonna get into some Texas Longhorns spring updates, and he's gonna give you his 1-2 about his Longhorns. He gonna say hook up, but I'm gonna say hook down. But let's get him in here. What's up, Mr. Rob? How you doing today, man?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for having me on the show this evening, man, to talk about my Longhorns. I appreciate you.
For sure, man. Listen, man, we got a lot to talk about when it comes down to your Longhorns. I know y'all looking for another successful year, but let's go ahead and kick it off, man. Like, first question we got is, how is the first few spring practices been for your Longhorns thus far? What's coming? What's the noise that's coming out of them practices?
Well, first and foremost, everybody wants to know how Arch Manning is doing. Is he doing what everybody expects for him to be doing? And, with any first-year quarterback, starting role, taking first-string snaps, it's going to be a work in progress. But from what I understand, he's doing really well. Of course, you got to cut down on some things that might happen in those practices that they don't want to talk about, like interceptions and things like that. I think he's thrown one or two of those this spring so far. And other than that, we got a couple of guys who have an opportunity to take advantage of the fact that DeAndre Moore is not out there at the wide receiver position because he's nursing a bad foot. And we got another guy, I think it's a toe. And we got another guy who is out. So running backs have a chance to take advantage of that since Quintravious Wisner's going to – we already know what he can do, so we're going to let him, chill out pretty much. And then those other running backs have a chance to do their thing because Cedric Baxter is still out for the spring. So that's two position groups that we really need some depth, and we hope that those guys are taking advantage of this opportunity right now since those guys are hurt right now.
Where I hope that y'all's defense is throwing a whole bunch of different looks at him because, yeah, he got a couple games of experience under his belt, but spring when you integrating a new starter, he need to see everything, and you got my boys the first week. He better be ready because we coming for him.
For sure. Hey, we know that for sure.
All right, man. Hey, so what news can you give us about the offensive line and having to replace 4 starters? You got 2 offensive linemen that look like they're going to be probably first rounders. That's going to be tough to replace. And even you can add on to about how you feel about that tight end position as well, because that's a key part of a run game when you got a tight end that need to block. So go ahead and update us about who you think is going to be the guys that's going to replace those guys.
Oh, man, this is going to be a tough job, man, because one good thing is the fact that Cole Hudson is going to be our center. In his freshman year, which was 4 years ago, he was our right guard, and he played a lot of snaps, and he's played a lot of football at Texas in the Texas uniform. But he's moving over to center, which really helps us because he's a much bigger player, a much bigger body than Jake Majors was. So that's going to help a lot. But then next to him at right guard, you got a 3-year starter in DJ Campbell. He started 2 years, and then him and, like I said, Cole Hudson was flip-flopping during their freshman season. And then at right tackle, you're going to be seeing Brandon Baker, who is a red shirt freshman. Red shirt freshman at the right tackle position. Hopefully he can beat out Andre Kojo for that spot because Andre Kojo has been in the program for 4 years. This is Andre Kojo's time to make something happen at the right tackle position. Hopefully he can beat out the redshirt freshman. But right now he's on the second team. And at left guard we got Neto. I don't want to mess up his last name. I don't want to.
Let's leave it at Neto.
Yeah. And then at left tackle, which he played a lot of football for us last year when Calvin Banks went out and when Cam Williams went out. That'll be Trevor Goolsby. And backing him up at left tackle is a true freshman, Nick Brooks. And then we're trying to work in Nate Kibble and Jordan Chapman at those two guard positions. And then I can't remember who our backup center is, but he's been in the program for at least 2 years as well. But you know that line is going to be a work in progress. Hopefully they can gel before we meet those Ohio State Buckeyes in game one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I hear what you're saying about Gooseby. So is he the only guy that really had meaningful reps last year out of all those guys that you just mentioned?
Outside of DJ Campbell and Cole Hudson, yeah, but Cole Hudson is playing a different position. But DJ Campbell started at right guard for the last 2 years. And as a freshman, him and Cole Hudson, they sort of alternated at that right guard position in the freshman year. So they'll both be seniors this year.
So
the other ones are work in progress.
You mentioned Cole Hudson moving over from that guard to that center position. A lot of the times, I don't really get too concerned with that. I think a lot of the times guards they're very capable of moving over to the center position without too many hiccups. It's really them tackle spots that you got to get on lock. You like to think that that center of that offensive line, they'll figure that thing out. Y'all got the talent on the roster. We just got to get the cohesionness.
But one thing I'm really excited about this offensive line, though, is last year, as you saw, we had a lot of trouble running inside zone because our center and our left tackle, they just weren't maulers in the run game like DJ Campbell is at right tackle. But now with Cole Hudson and Neto, you got guys who are maulers, who are huge, who are run block. Now they're gonna have to work on their pass block and their pass pro. But as far as the run game is concerned, inside zone should be bread and butter for us this year, as long as those tackles can make sure they don't let guys cut underneath them.
Okay. So, and also leading into that, I asked you about the tight end. You know, that tight end position is also key to that line and the cohesion is especially in the run game. But, you know, Gunnar Helm did a lot for y'all in the passing game last year. He's off to the NFL, of course, probably a top 5 tight end in this NFL draft. I expect to see him go on day 2, if not early day 3. Who's the next guy that's looking like is going to come out of that room? And you know, Steve Sarkisian love his tight end, so y'all better have a dude at that spot.
Yeah, man, it's going to be Spencer Shannon is taking first team reps right now, and I'm kind of hurt, man, because he'll probably make it back before the end of the spring, but we got a freshman in Jordan Washington who's going to be a legit big time tight end for us. And once my man Emory Winston makes it in not Emory Winston, but Nick Townsend makes it in this summer. That's another weapon we can have at the tight end position. But right now it's probably going to be Spencer Shannon and Will Randall, which is going to mainly be our inline tight ends. But the verdict is out on that tight end position, bro. And you know how important it is to a Steve Sarkisian offense. I don't know which one of these guys are going to gel in that position, but right now it's probably going to look like it's going to be Will Randall, probably being more of an inline tight end than a pass catcher. But not Will Randall, but Spencer Shannon. So we'll have to wait and see, bro, on that one.
Okay. Man, Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, both out. That's a lot of experience. Y'all just left that room. I know we still got Wingo. Wingo got a lot of reps. Is the receiver position in a good spot this spring without DeAndre Moore practicing this spring? I know you expecting a lot from DeAndre Moore. Let's hear about a couple other names that we should be fond of this year coming from Texas football.
It's interesting, man, that you asked about these wide receivers because Now Ryan Wingo is out with a hamstring for a couple of weeks, or at least a couple of couple of practices, which is probably good because we already know what Ryan Wingo can do. We already know what DeAndre Moore can do. But the wide receiver that's making the most noise is redshirt freshman wide receiver um, um, Parker Livingston. This guy is 6'4", high catch radius, can run. He's a sub 4.5 guy at the wide receiver position. Ran a 21.6, 200 meters in high school. Really
Mm.
fast guy, long, got some talent. He's scoring touchdowns in every practice we've had so far, and two in another separate practice that we had. So he's somebody that's going to make some noise. And out of the true freshmen, Khalid Lockett is making a lot of noise, along with Dylan McCutcheon. I thought Dylan McCutcheon was behind probably Jamie French and Khalid Lockett, but he's making some noise there at that position as well. Along with Aaron Butler, one of the guys ended up leaving. Freddie DeBose ended up leaving the program earlier last week.
Man, Jamie French, man, that's the guy that had keen eyes on coming into spring. We don't got no word on what he been out here doing. Is he? Do y'all got anything like how at Ohio State we got the black stripe thing where we know how fast somebody is progressing, or the black stripe is a representation of how fast the coaching staff feel like somebody is ready to actually play in a college football game. That's what it's meant. Do y'all got anything like that over there at Texas to kind of give us a keen eye on how these guys are progressing, and if they're actually ready?
No, I don't think they have anything. If they do, I haven't heard of it. But Jamie French is running with the second unit. Um, and you might ended up seeing him in the first unit now that Ryan Wingo is down for a little bit. But I'll find that out tomorrow when they have practice tomorrow because they practiced Monday. They can practice Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week, which they already had their um, fourth practice. I think it was on Monday. So they're going to have another one here on tomorrow. So I'll probably find out some more information about what Jamie Finch is doing. But I mean, he was mentioned in the first practice. I haven't heard his name since that first practice, though.
Okay, and one last question about this receiver room that I got. 3rd and 8. Who is the dude? Like, who is that dude that y'all have confidence in right now at this moment that he's going to be the one that can win against whoever's over there on the other side of him guarding him?
Well, ideally, people would probably think I would say Ryan Wingo in this instance, but it appears to me that Arch Manning has found a connection with Parker Livingston. Parker Livingston is a guy who is 6'4", has a high catch radius, good hands, a nice body frame. So I would think that it would probably end up being Parker Livingston. That's who he's gelling with right now. Not that Ryan Wingo won't be the guy, but right now, if I had to pick one, I would say Parker Livingston.
Yeah, well, that cohesion with the quarterback always matter, man. Yeah, dude could be more talented, but the cohesion is something serious.
Yeah.
We know y'all getting CJ Baxter back this year. All American caliber running back the year before that devastating injury. With him, I thought y'all would for sure be like probably in the national championship. That's how serious he is. How else? What else is in that room? From them RBs. What what is the noise sounding like? How that group is coming along, and is that going to be a strength for you guys?
It's going to be a strength once CJ Baxter get back. It'll be a strength there. But
He
right
not back
now,
yet.
no. Well, they're not going to let him know he's not back. They're not. They're going to bring him back in the summertime into the fall. They're not going to let him practice during the spring. But the good news about that running back room is when CJ Baxter got hurt, the very next practice or the very next week, Christian Clark tore his Achilles. And they had no idea that this guy would even be ready right now. This dude is ready, bro. He out there cutting, carrying the load right now. He's been mainly the number one back since they letting um, Trey Wisner go ahead and sort of like they already know what he can do, so they ain't giving him a whole lot of reps right now. They giving him to Christian Clark, Jared Gibson, and Ricky Stewart, and then the other fellow. I gotta think of his name. The other one is probably going to be a huge back for us once he gets up to speed. He's a true freshman too, but he's a bigger body than all of those guys, along with Christian Clark, who is probably going to be our bail cow on third downs whenever we got to run that inside zone to get those yardage. If he can handle the ball. Now, if he can't, if he fumble, it's going to be Jared Gibson right now. But the running back room looks really, really good. And of course, we're going after some top running backs in the 2026 class as well.
Okay, okay. Um, Arch Manning. Let's slide over to the quarterbacks and Arch Manning. Um, we kind of know about Arch Manning a bit. Some people don't. We'll let you get into Arch Manning. But I am real curious about the other quarterbacks on the roster as well. Because knock on wood, we want him to stay healthy, but we understand that depth is real key. You gotta have a guy behind him. So go ahead, speak about Arch Manning, and what's to come from the guys that's behind him, as we see this Texas football team round out for this August 30th matchup on Week 1 and to take on this SEC schedule this year.
This coaching staff is really, really high on Trey Owens, who's the backup quarterback right now. Him and KJ Lacey are battling for that backup position, the second string spot. And when you look at all three of those guys, you got two big guys. You got Arch Manning, who is huge, and Trey Owens, I believe, is taller than him and weighs a little bit more weight than him. And then you got a 5'11", 190-pound KJ Lacey, who is more of the Alabama quarterback, Bryce Young. He's more of a Bryce Young type out of Alabama. Uh, and so in high school, he played ball in Alabama. He actually played with Ryan Williams that plays for Alabama now. And they're really high on Trey Owens. Trey Owens has a big body. He's mobile enough to if he has to pull the ball, he almost will put you in the mind of how Will Howard ran for y'all. This guy can do those kind of things. He might not be as athletic as Will Howard, but he can run and he has a huge body. And so I think our backup is going to be solid. Now, God forbid anything happens to Arch Manning, because the last 3 years we've had to go to our backup quarterback, but they're all looking really good, and Arch Manning is really looking really, really good as well. Um, they're everybody's going to get to see how much different this offense is with Arch Manning at the quarterback as opposed to Quinn Ewers. Now he ain't gonna be able to throw the intermediate ball as good as Quinn, but the deep ball is going to be a whole lot better.
Yeah. Hey, you need a quarterback with legs, I think, in modern offenses. I think when you see guys like how Kyle McCord was, it's a real Achilles heel, man. When you got a guy that just want to sit back there and sling, and he don't have no type of mobility about himself. So that is going to be huge because when it's 3rd and 3, sometimes you got to tuck it and run, man.
Mm-hmm.
My next question. We're staying on the offensive side of the football. We talked a lot. We really went down all position groups, and kind of talked about the progression. I want to talk about one weakness you guys had last year. And that being said, Quinn was kind of one of them non-mobile quarterbacks. I thought missing out on CJ Baxter kind of hurt the things that y'all wanted to do in the red zone last year. How well do you think all these new pieces on this offense can turn around for more a higher percentage of success in that red zone? Because we've seen it come up late in the year with just maybe it might have been play calling. I like to think that it was just the type of football that y'all was playing in the red zone. But how well do you think the red zone offense can improve this year?
I mean, I think it's going to improve, but the reason why it was so bad last year is you don't have the effect with Quinn at the quarterback to run the football. And then, like I said earlier, we had no push in the middle on inside zone. So if we wanted to run power football, We really couldn't do it with the left guard and center that we had. They just didn't have the body types. They just didn't have the skill level that you need to really maul guys. Now, what they have now is maulers, at
Yeah,
the center and two guard positions. So that's going to help one. And then, of course, Arch Manning having legs is another weapon. But I think what Steve Sarkisian is really going to focus on in that short yardage red zone area is he's probably going to start bringing back in a guy who played Malik Agbo played in his freshman year. He played like a 6-0 line in the 6-0 line package as a tight end, even though he was a guard. Now he lost weight to do that. He gained all his weight back to play guard again, but I haven't seen his name on the depth chart. I think that's going to be another thing they're going to use. And then they're hoping C.J. Baxter is back so that he can make some of those runs that need to be made when we get down there by the goal line.
true that. True that. All right, one name. Who will be Texas's top true offensive freshman this season?
Man, that's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna go with K. Phillips. Plays defensive back.
K. Phillips.
Listen. K.
Offensive.
Oh, offensive. Oh, my bad.
Offensive.
Offensive.
Yeah, offensive.
Man. It's gonna have to be one of those wide receivers. I'm gonna go with Khalid Lockett.
I heard the name Nick Brooks too as a true freshman. You said tackle. So if
Yeah,
he can get that nod,
yeah. He ain't beating out Gooseby.
all right. He said he ain't that ain't happening.
He ain't beating out Gooseby.
Okay. Hey, I think we should get a quick word from our sponsors. Go ahead. You can go ahead and announce that real quick, and we get back into it and slide over to the defensive side of the football.
Oh, cool. We'd like to thank our sponsors, K&T Eats LLC, K&T's Good Eats LLC. You can reach them on Instagram at Kevin J. Bird. That's Bird spelled B-Y-R-D. Also, his sister has Social Nutrition, which is where you can get nutritious shakes and energy teas right there at Social Nutrition. Healthy Sips and Conversation. 3136 South Hamilton Road, just past Refugee Road here in Columbus, Ohio, on the, I guess you can say, the southeast side of Columbus, Ohio. And then my young man, I've been knowing him since he was 10 years old, has his own apparel line called The Chief. That's DECHIEF 5991. It's scrolling across the bottom. If I make any mistakes, you can see it right across the bottom. He has his own apparel line. In fact, I got on one of his shirts, The Chief. Support his business. He has pop-up shops all over the city, so you can contact him and find him on Instagram and on TikTok at The Chief. That's DECHIEF .5991. Thank you, sponsors.
Good old word from the sponsors. You know we can't forget about the sponsors, man. All right, man. Let's go ahead and pivot to this defensive side of the football. Outstanding defense last year. A lot returning, a lot to love about that group that's coming back and the things that y'all can add. But we're going to start at the defensive line. Are y'all finding the answers that y'all need at defensive line after losing all their main players, after losing all y'all's main key players at that position? I know y'all got a couple guys through the portal. Recruiting has always been well in Texas. Go ahead and give me some word about the progression of those guys that's going to be in that interior of that defensive line.
Well, the thing that makes me the happiest is the fact that a returning red shirt, he might not even be a red shirt freshman because I think he played enough last year to burn his red shirt. Alex January, we're really, really high on him. He's been running with the first unit over guys who came in the portal who has played a lot of football, like Cole Bavard, Travis Shaw, and Hero Canoe. Now, Hero Canoe started off really, really good. He was with first team the first couple practices, but since then, Cole Bavard has come on and Travis Shaw. So we're going to probably be okay at that defensive line position. Those guys are more um, Cole Bavard and Harold Canoe. They're more like nose guard. So that's going to help. That's going to help.
Man, I can't believe Canoe went over there, man. He was gonna be in rotation. I don't know what he was tripping about, but we wish him the best, man. Um, we know y'all got some monster defensive ends returning. Um, Go ahead and speak about that position. This might be your strongest position group on your defense. I don't know. That's just my opinion. How you feel about this group?
I tend to agree with you. I think this is going to be our strongest position group defensively. I mean, we got Colin Simmons coming back. We got Ethan Burke coming back for his fourth year. So we know we're going to be solid at that position. We know we're going to be solid right there where Colin Simmons is. But Neto's younger brother, Zena, and I can't pronounce their last name, he's going to be solid. He's getting his body in shape to really be a defensive end at the college level. He was a beast in high school, but college level is a totally different animal. But
Facts.
the thing that shocked me is they've moved Trey Moore into the linebacker room. So he won't be on that defensive end position. So we're hoping that Colton Bostic can finally get healthy. He's not participated in spring practice. He's still dealing with the shoulder. But if he could ever get 100% healthy, he is a monster. He's a monster.
Trey Moore. I like the move of Trey Moore going to linebacker. I'm not gonna lie because now that leave more time for Moore, Simmons, and Hill to be on the field together. I feel like I think that's probably what the move was about. You want to get your best 11 on the field, and I
They're
think
actually trying to get another defensive end. Excuse me, my bad. I didn't know. I didn't
no,
know you
you
were.
good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They're trying to get a defensive end who just jumped in the portal since Stanford's coach is no longer there. They're trying to get David Bailey, who was a top 34 ranked defensive end in his class, a player, not 34th defensive end,
You're
top
34
34
overall.
player in the country. So we're trying to get him in that defensive end room as well. Hopefully it can happen.
Oh yeah, well, you add a top 34 overall player to that group, man. That's kind of scary. I'm just saying. Let's go ahead and move on to the linebackers. Who are the players in the two deep at linebacker for Texas? And that was a strength that you guys had last year. Will it be continue to be a strength this year?
I think it'll be better than it was the last 2 years. I don't know if it's going to be as good as it was when we had DeMarvin and Overshawn and oh man, Jalen's. Oh, I can't think of his name. Anyway, he should have been Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year that year. But anyway, I think when you got Anthony Hill and Leona LaFau or either Trey Moore being on the offside linebacker, or even when you bring in Spence from the transfer from Arkansas, they're gonna be solid. Those guys can be interchangeable at any of those positions. They can all uh, cover okay. Now Leon LaFau is a good coverage guy, along with Trey Moore's decent. Anthony Hill was decent. I'm not sure about Spence. Spence was one of those linebackers who rushed a lot off the edge um, for Arkansas. So that could be another rush weapon for us, but I don't know what he's like in coverage. But we should be pretty solid there. But we got Ty Anthony Smith, and we got Big Bo Barnes. It's the biggest linebacker we got, true freshman, 6'1", 245 pounds, Big Bo Barnes. So we're going to be
Mm,
all right at the linebacker position.
yeah, that's a big boy.
Dude.
I'm just saying. Hey, so we know Michael Taft is returning, probably going to be All American safety this year. Um, I know all too well how much elite safety can do for your program. And what else are we looking forward to in our safeties this year? Who's going to be the other guy opposite of Michael Taft? Or do y'all have a returner, or is it somebody y'all replacing back there?
Well, we're replacing Andrew Makuba, but
Yeah,
Jelani
yeah.
McDonald played a lot of safety. And what I ain't gonna say this, it's never good to have a guy injured. But Derek Williams, who was a starter from time to time, he's going to be back by time fall ball starts, probably in the summer going into the fall. So we'll get him back. He's a major safety for us, along with Jelani McDonald. And then we got a second year player at that position. His name is Jordan Johnson Rebel and Xavier Fasusi. So we're gonna be pretty solid at the safety position. Hopefully those guys can get some run in the games that are not major games. Those 3 games after we play Ohio State. Hopefully those guys can get some reps, get a lot of playing time, so they can be up to speed later on in the season. Because we know how important it is for those players to be able to get some run now, in case we need them back on the back end of the season.
Yeah, you got to get them reps in between that Ohio State and that SEC schedule. That's when you got to get guys reps because, like I said, we don't want to see injuries, but the extension of these seasons now, and y'all play long into the last season, man. Our teams will be lucky if we escape without injury this year. It's just a part of football.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the cornerback position. Man, I know y'all gonna miss Jade Barron. You don't just replace a guy like that. But go ahead and speak about the progression of these guys going through the spring. Who's CB1? I want to definitely know who is CB1. Who is the guy y'all gonna line up on Jeremiah Smith come August 30th? And speak about also the other guys that's on that roster. You know who's gonna start at that nickel, because you know that's a key position as well. You know, you want a nickel that's gonna be that kind of got that dog in him. Somebody that's gonna be handsy, not afraid, but y'all kind of run more of a zone type scheme. I feel like, but look, go ahead and speak about your top 3 guys, and then I want to know about the next 3 guys that's next up, and even some key freshmen that might be in that group.
Yeah. Well, Jalen Gilbo was actually started before Jade Barron at the slot position, star position, back when they first were at Texas. And then Gilbo got hurt, and then all of a sudden, Jade Barron never left the field. But we're moving Jalen Gilbo to corner now. So he's working out primarily at corner. Wardell Mack is working out at the star position where I thought Jelani McDonald would be. I thought Jelani McDonald was going to come up and play the star instead of safety. But with Williams out, they got Jelani McDonald playing that safety position. And then, of course, on the other side is going to be Malik Muhammad. If we had to put anybody on Smith, it's going to be Jalen Gilbo. It's not going to be Malik Muhammad.
I hope it's Malik Muhammad. I hope it is. I pray and hope it is. Because y'all love him. I don't love him.
Well, you got to see him when he wasn't as good last year. He made some mistakes. But I think he's going to have a better season this year. But we definitely going to have Gilbo on him and have somebody over the top for sure. But we got Santana Wilson, who is playing second string behind Malik Muhammad, and he is a coach's son. Plus, his dad played for years in the NFL. So he's one of those guys who really understands the game. He got to Texas late last year as a true freshman. This year is his redshirt freshman year. He's making some noise. And earlier, I talked about Cade Phillips. Cade Phillips is a true freshman, but this guy can go. Got length, got size, got ability, got skills. And that's what you need at that cornerback position. So those guys should really, really make some noise at that cornerback position. And along with Kobe Black, who played a lot last year, he was one of the top cornerbacks in the recruiting class last year. So all those guys are going to be getting some run because we're going to need them at some point during this season.
Now, we know Texas had a top 5 defense. Do you expect this defense to be just as good or even better this year?
The defense this year is going to be better than it was last year. Only because our edge rush is going to be much, much better than what it was. I'm not going to say much, much better because it was really good last year. It's going to be better this year. And I think that the guys who are playing defensive tackle this year, they're more of run stoppers than they are disruptors that's going to, get the quarterback off his platform, which we really needed run stoppers last year, like we had the year before with Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. But the guys we got this year, they're run stoppers, and we got enough guys coming off the edge, so we don't really need them to get the quarterback, no push up the middle. But with those guys. But we're gonna probably run a NASCAR package on passing downs anyway, so we can get some of those disruptors in there on 3rd and 7 or longer for sure.
Yeah, the Rushman package, 4 defensive ends. Let's go get him.
Yeah. That's what it's gonna be. That's where you're gonna probably see Justice Terry getting more time, even though he's out with a slight hammy too.
Mm-hmm.
And so he hasn't been practicing lately either. But we got high hopes on Justice Terry. Once he gets up to 300 plus pounds, you're really going to get to see him work. But right now, he's going to probably be in packages like that.
Yeah. Now, you try to give me this answer earlier. Top true freshman defensive player this year. One name.
Oh, it got to be Cade Phillips. It got to be Cade Phillips. Yeah, it got to be him. Or Lance Jackson. If Lance Jackson can find a way to get in the mix with those defensive ends, Lance Jackson's brother was the defensive end who played for. He had a hell of a combine. The dude he probably had the highest 40 in the combine for the defensive ends. But Lance Jackson, his brother played for Arkansas. Lance Jackson, if he can make some noise and get up in there, if somebody get hurt, he gonna be a bad boy, man. In a couple of years, you're gonna see him making some noise. And the way I talk about Colin Simmons, I'm probably gonna be talking about him.
All right, okay. You got anything else you want to mention about your Longhorns?
Yeah, I want to mention this. Congratulations to Dylan Swain for committing to my Texas Longhorns, boy. Yeah, Columbus, Ohio, Afrocentric. Transferred from Xavier to my Longhorns to play basketball. A 6'8" kid who can run the point. Ooh.
I guess we can't really say we got out recruited this time. He just followed his coach.
He just followed his coach.
I was hoping he wasn't though.
I wanted him to stay home.
Man, I wanted him to so bad. You know he gave him top dollar though. You know he did.
Yeah, you already know that.
All right, another quick word from our sponsors, and we can go ahead and head out.
Yeah, we really truly appreciate our sponsors. My man K&T Good Eats at Kevin Bird, BYRD on Instagram, Social Nutrition, Healthy Shakes and Sips and Conversation at 3136 South Hamilton Road, just south of Refugee Road, and my man the Chief, 5991. You can catch him at Instagram and TikTok at the Chief, DECHIEF .5991. Instagram and TikTok. Get on that apparel line. It is beastie. Because you see me, I got on one of his shirts right now.
We definitely appreciate our sponsors, man. We thank everybody that tuned in for this banger. You know, we're going to keep our eyes tuned in on these Texas Longhorns because, you know, them silver bullets is coming. But we do our homework, though. We do our homework. We appreciate all the information.
Yeah. Pass it on to
them. I will. I'm going to make some calls as soon as we get off. But all right, everybody. For sure, man. Hey, that was a great interview, man.
Oh, thank you, bro.
For sure. Hey, but y'all know what we do. We say peace.